Hey y'all, this is PJ Alexander, and in this video, we're going to talk about some very important tips for driving a loaded semi-truck and trailer down a mountain grade, and some techniques that will help you to do it safely. Now, as a preface to this video, I do have to say that this video is not the end all of what you need to know before going down a mountain with 80,000 pounds. But for the sake of the basic principles that you'll need to apply, this video should be a good start. The key principle that you'll need to understand when it comes to heavy loads going down a mountain grade in a big rig is knowing how to keep that beast on that road and from carrying too much momentum that will cause you to lose control of the vehicle. Your brakes are the single most important mechanical system on that truck, and knowing how and when to apply the brakes while also maintaining a safe speed going down a mountain will either make or completely wreck your day, literally. It seems there are some common mistakes truck drivers make these days when traveling down a mountain. Some of these mistakes are ignoring road signs, poor brake management during the descent, and failure to utilize lower gears. A fourth problem many drivers could be making is not using their engine brake. However, for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you how to drive down a mountain without using an engine brake, and how to do it safely and successfully. There have been many horror stories across the United States that show us just how dangerous driving down a mountain can be, even in perfect weather and driving conditions, and how critically important it is to know what you're doing before attempting this on your own. It's highly recommended that you learn from others' mistakes and know your truck very well as inspecting the brakes thoroughly prior to driving down a mountain, especially a steep grade. Many mountains have emergency ramps along the downgrade that are in place for truckers who lose control of their vehicle and need to get it stopped. These truck ramps are typically inclined very steep upward and filled with sand, rock, and other material to get that semi stopped quickly and safely in the event that the truck's braking system fails. Alright, so let's talk about those three key mistakes briefly. Mistake number one, and probably the biggest mistake, is ignoring road signs before starting down a mountain. Road signs are there for a reason, and they give warning to what's coming. You'll need to pay attention to these road signs so that you'll know how to prepare and what to expect before starting your descent. Some examples you'll see are information about the downgrade, such as how steep it is and how many miles the downgrade will be. Also, at some mountaintops in some states, they may have a trucker's brake inspection station that allows you to stop and check your brakes prior to your descent. Some states require all truckers to pull off and inspect their brakes before going down the mountain. An example of this is I-24 eastbound at Monteagle in the state of Tennessee. There is an inspection area that requires truckers to pull off and check their brakes before proceeding down Monteagle Mountain. Be on the lookout for things like this prior to driving down the mountain. Mistake number two is brake management. This means knowing whether or not your brakes are in proper working order, such as making sure they work and are in good condition. Make sure you have good air pressure with no leaks, no cracks or damage to your brake chambers or slack adjusters, and your brake pads aren't worn too thin. These things should be checked during your pre-trip inspection. Another way to manage your brakes is how and when you should apply your brakes as you go down the mountain. Something very important you should know when going down the mountain is to brake intermittently. Something you want to avoid is what's called riding the brakes. This is when you apply the brakes for excessive periods of time during your drive down, which is a leading cause of brake failure. Keeping your foot on the brake pedal for lengthy periods of time is a surefire way to get heat in those brakes. After all, brakes use friction to slow your vehicle. So the longer you sit on the brakes, the hotter they will get, which will result in the brakes turning into a hot metal sponge, thus losing your ability to slow the vehicle as it gains momentum. You don't want to get yourself into a situation where the brake pedal feels like a Serta mattress when you try to slow down. The best way to save your brakes and prevent them from getting too hot is applying them in increments. If the speed limit is 45 miles per hour for trucks, it's best to keep your truck from exceeding that 45 mile per hour limit and apply the brakes once you reach the 45 mile per hour mark. Slow down to about 35 miles per hour. Once your truck has slowed down to 35 miles per hour, let off the brake and allow the truck to increase speed back up to 45 miles per hour. Then once you hit 45 miles per hour, apply the brakes again to get it slowed back down to 35 miles per hour. Repeat this process down the mountain and you should be fine, as it will help to keep your brakes from getting too hot. And lastly, mistake number 3 is failure to utilize lower gears. Engine brakes basically slow your truck down and it helps to save your brakes. But if you don't have a truck equipped with engine brakes, choosing a lower gear prior to starting down a mountain will greatly reduce your momentum and keep you from going too fast. It will also help assist keeping your brakes from getting too hot. For example, in a 10-speed manual truck, if the posted speed for trucks on the downgrade is 50 miles per hour, it would be best to drop down a couple of gears to begin your descent. Maintain that gear until you reach the bottom. This will help your efforts to keep that truck under control. All right, so enough talk. Let's try this in the real world. Let's go. All right, so here we are on top of Monteagle Mountain. We are on I-24 westbound going toward Nashville, and we're about to go down this mountain. Monteagle is not a very high mountain to drive down compared to like places in Washington State, Colorado, and some other parts of the country. But I just want to give you a general idea on the process and how to do it successfully without getting out of control. I'll show you my process and how I make it simple and less stressful. So before we start going down the mountain, just make sure you're calm, relaxed, and that you're not under stress. Also too, make sure that your air pressure gauges are up to pressure. Make sure you have enough air pressure to go down the mountain to use your brakes. Just so you know, before you start going down, you need to pay attention to the road signs. This road sign here says caution steep mountain grade next 4 miles. Okay, so we know that for the next 4 miles, we're gonna be going down this mountain. That's important to know, just so I know how much of the air brakes that I need to save. All right, look for signs like reduced truck speed ahead for the next 4 miles. Some areas on top of the mountain grade give you a place to pull over just to check your brakes out. So we're gonna be going down a 5% grade over the next 4 miles. All right, so at the top of the mountain, just keep an eye on my foot pedals. I'm gonna start slowing down a little bit. We're at 50 miles per hour. I'm gonna go ahead and downshift before we start going down this thing. So I'm gonna go down to 8th gear. I'm in 9th now, and I'm gonna make my way down to 8th gear. Slow it down. To add insult to injury, we also have to deal with the wet roads from the rain today. So we wanna take extra caution going down this mountain. Just keep an eye out on where my footing is. I'm applying a little bit of the brake. Again, guys, very, very important that you don't wear out your brakes. Don't ride your brakes. Now I have my brakes applied. I'm gonna let go of them. I'm gonna let off. We're at 40 miles per hour. Engine RPM and is at about 1700. Very important to start out in a lower gear so that your engine can help to slow your truck down. I'm at about 76,360 pounds. All right, just steady as it goes. We're at 45 miles per hour. Again, I don't really want to go above 50 miles per hour, so I want to keep it somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 miles per hour. All right, we're coming up to a sharp right-hand corner. Trucks are supposed to stay around 45 miles per hour around this corner, so I want to make sure that that's where I'm at, and that's where I am. So we're going to go around this corner. Again, I'm in 8th gear at about 1800 RPMs. Going to hit my brakes a little bit here just to slow it down a little bit more, and then let off. I can't stress it enough, guys. You don't want to be overusing your brakes. Once you use your brakes and apply them, then let off. If you ride your brakes down the mountain, then your brakes are going to get very, very hot, and you're going to start losing that pressure that you need for those calipers to work properly. You're going to start getting those brakes hot,
and you start losing the stopping power of those brakes. All right, so we're increasing our speed over 45 miles per hour. Let's apply the brakes again. Remember, your truck's going to have a lot of momentum if you're very heavy. The more weight that you have on your truck, the more momentum you're going to have going down the mountain. So keep that in mind. I'm at about 1,800 RPMs. Tell you what, I'm going to go back up to 9th gear because I'm feeling a little confident. We're doing pretty good right now. I went back up to 9th gear. So that means I'm going to increase the speed. The downgrade is not quite as steep right here, so I can go up a gear. But you gotta just make sure to maintain a certain speed, okay? What I'm doing now is I'm going in between 40 and 50 miles per hour. I don't wanna go above 50. Like right now, I'm at 55, so I'm gonna slow the truck down. Slowing the truck down, got my foot on the brake, and then I'm gonna let go, okay? Once you get down to the certain speed that you want to be at, let go of the brake pedal. Don't ride your brakes. Allow those brakes to cool off as you're going down the mountain. All right, so I'm going back up to 55 miles per hour at 1,600 RPMs. I want to slow this thing down again. So let's apply the brakes yet again. Let's get that thing woed up back to about 50 miles per hour. Just easing our way down, making sure you're checking your mirrors. All right, we got a sharp right-hand corner coming here again, so I'm going to slow down to about 50 miles per hour. And we're at 50 miles per hour now, letting off the brake pedal. Just easy does it, guys. Just take your time. Don't allow the traffic that's blowing by you to distract you. Just keep a steady pace. Take it easy. Now we're coming down to the bottom of the mountain here. Again, it's very important that you don't wear your brakes out. Once you apply your brakes for about 5 seconds or so, or even 10 seconds, let off the brake and let your brakes cool down. Very important. All right, so we're basically at the bottom of the mountain now. I'm going to go ahead and go back up to 10th gear. And we successfully made it down Monteagle Mountain without any issues. Now keep in mind, I did not have any engine brake. I used absolutely no engine brake. This truck in particular doesn't have an engine brake. So we went down that mountain in the rain, on the wet road, where visibility is minimal. And we also did not have an engine brake. And our weight was at 76,360 pounds. So if you apply these steps and these principles, when you go down a mountain, you shouldn't have any issue.
Well, that about does it for this video. I hope you learned some valuable lessons on how to get down that mountain safely. Apply these basic principles and you'll be in a better position to keep yourself out of trouble and get home to your family at night. Don't forget to let me know down in the comment section what you would like to see and what videos you would like for me to do, and I'll try to work on those videos in the future. But as always, take care and may God bless you.